Thank you for joining the Laugh and Learn Blab series with Really Social. Today's topic, how to use social media, LinkedIn. Seemed like a valuable topic to cover today. Also timely, since approximately 90 minutes ago, I wrapped up a LinkedIn 101 training with my Colorado Women in Social Media sister, Amy Skillen. So I'm going to give her a shout out too. Shout out. Let's see if she's on. Maybe not. In any case, so today is about LinkedIn, and what I'm going to do is essentially run through standard questions that come up when we're talking LinkedIn with people. LinkedIn, people usually get through the registration part, signing up, and then it's kind of like, okay, I'm just going to kind of fill it out and piecemeal it. We really do encourage people to spend some time, as much time as people might spend and hopefully spend on building a resume. This is even more than that. So I'm going to dive right in, and we're going to get going, and I am going to go ahead and populate this got a question thing. I will share, I have some Blab ground rules, and I'm not trying to be a stickler about that, but it's for everyone's benefit so everyone can learn to the best advantage and have fun in this community, in this forum, and stay on topic so that we can all benefit from what we're talking about. So Blab ground rules are right there. I recommend that for anyone doing a Blab. In any case, we're talking about LinkedIn today. And again, LinkedIn is not just an online resume. A lot of people see it that way. You can do online resumes anywhere, monster.com, indeed.com, and things like that. LinkedIn is far more powerful than that, and it's quite the online portfolio engine is what I like to call it, because it does have your experience and your resume in it, but it's got such a myriad of opportunities to network, to build a portfolio. You don't have to have just words in your LinkedIn profile. You can have images, files, everything. You can have your own custom LinkedIn URL, your web address for your LinkedIn profile. You have groups, follow companies and all these things and publish on them. So I want to cover all of this. We're going to be on for about an hour, so we don't have a whole lot of time. If you have questions about LinkedIn, I really want you to post them in the sidebar using the leading /Q so I can get to those, because if you have a question, chances are others are going to have it too. All right, so let's kick it off. So before we get too far in, I do have a little takeaway for everybody, a little LinkedIn 5 steps. You can take this and say, okay, well, maybe I haven't gotten so deep into my LinkedIn. It gives you really basic 5 things to start doing today that get you going. But let's talk about your profile. So we're coming from the standpoint that I'm assuming that you have set up a profile, which means you have registered on LinkedIn.com. You've used an email and password to set up an account, and it's free to start. And then you fill in all the blanks as it guides you through. So we're assuming that you've gotten that far, that you've set up a LinkedIn profile. As you've set up your profile, LinkedIn has asked you questions to piece you through. Would you like to connect with people? Where did you go to school? Where's your current job? And things like that. So let's say you've gotten through all that, and now you've landed at, okay, I've got a profile. What am I doing? So we're going to start covering some questions. So many people don't realize that you can customize your LinkedIn URL, your web address, that http://www.linkedin/blah. Once you register on LinkedIn, it's going to just assign you a random user URL. Usually it has your first and last name based on what you entered when you set up your profile. And then it adds a lot of gobbledygook to the end, alphanumeric. So when I started, I was probably, the whole linkedin.com/in/ Rachel Moore 3694218BYZ. So that is not optimal. You want to be able to customize your URL. Now, if you have a very common name like Jason Smith, this is going to be a little difficult for you, but you can get inventive. And I do hope I get joined by a couple of my cohorts here, because I know they've got some good insights into this as well. But when you are on LinkedIn and on the profile tab at the top, you can click view profile, view my profile. So you click on that. And when you get in there, you will see somewhere below your image, you'll see it's very small too, by the way. It's a LinkedIn URL, and it'll show you what that is. Now, next to that at the end is a gearbox. If you click on that gearbox next to your LinkedIn URL, it'll take you to a new screen. Now, at first you're going to say, well, where am I? Where'd that go? If you look over on the right side of your screen, you're going to see that you can customize your LinkedIn URL. Now, that basically says that, okay, well, instead of Rachel Moore 312569XYZ, I can make this something specific. Now, I couldn't do Rachel Moore. That is actually a common name. So what I did instead was I did Rachel for a while. I did Rachel Really, which, as you can tell, is my user profile for Twitter. Recently, I've changed it, and this was under my best practice advice from a friend of mine, a partner, that I changed it to Rachel Moore Social Media. And the reason I did that is because now I've got some keywords directly related to my expertise now in my LinkedIn URL affiliated with my name. So if you have not customized your LinkedIn URL yet, you should do that. So again, you go to view your own profile. Under your image, just go down a little bit for contact info, and you'll see your LinkedIn URL, that little web address. Click on the gearbox next to it. In the next screen, look up on the right, and you'll have a field where you can customize what ends up at the end of your URL. And if anyone's wondering, that will redirect, meaning if you've already put that gobbledygook URL in like a email signature or something like that, and now you've updated it and it's a custom URL, it will still clicking that old URL will still get to your LinkedIn profile. It redirects, so that's a good thing. So we have covered LinkedIn custom URLs. What photo should you use in your LinkedIn? Don't use a selfie. Even if you have a grayed out little standard icon LinkedIn assigns you because you have no image, do not use a selfie picture for your LinkedIn profile image. What you want to do, and if you have a smartphone, you have a good enough camera to take a very decent image, but you'll want to get out in natural daylight, preferably against a solid, not like a wall like this, because this is a funky wall in my basement, but preferably against a brick wall or a solid wall where you have even lighting all around you. And of course, be looking your best, but have a friend or a colleague take a picture of you against that background and take a few shots, a little farther, a little back, a little forward, because once you upload that picture to LinkedIn, you can crop it, but you will want a head and shoulders picture for your LinkedIn profile image. No selfies, no cropped images, even if you've got a professional shot of you at your wedding or something like that, or in your reception, and I look really good from head and shoulders, I'll just crop that. Still, no, just get one that's specifically for this purpose, wearing your best solid colors or whatever, and have someone take this for you. Better yet, if you can get a professional shot done by someone else, just get that done too. But you'll want to make sure you have that. And also, no children and no pets in your profile picture on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, those can go on Facebook, those can go on Instagram and Pinterest. They should not go on LinkedIn, because if you think about it, nobody's going to be hiring you or wanting to consult with you and have your child there or your pet. They're probably adorable, but they're not going to want them in the room. Exactly. Thank you, Social Ben. That is exactly right. Your eyes are in focus and visible. That is a good point too. If it's blurry, don't bother. Don't bother. Jason, I'm going to have a requirement that people interact in the sidebar. I have my blab ground rules at the top, so I'm actually not going to let anyone take seats until I've seen you interact on topic on the sidebar, if that's fine. So please just take a look at that. But let's keep on topic as far as helping people with their LinkedIn. So if anyone has any questions about your LinkedIn profile image and what to do and what not to do, but literally it's better to be blank than to have a blurry or unprofessional. And for God's sake, no alcohol. Don't be toasting somebody. It's not the cool Leonardo DiCaprio Great Gatsby picture, okay? It's not that. All right. Moving on. How to upload a background photo. Now, I don't know if you realize this, but when you edit your profile, not only can you upload a profile image, yes, it's really good to pay attention to the background color of your images too. You know, something that is connected to your emotion and stuff. Red's power, obviously. I tend to go for more blues and teals because I feel that's calming, and stuff like that. But You can upload a background image. So if you click on your edit profile link at the top on the tab, you then wind up in this whole thing where you see a bunch of like pencil icons. You can pretty much edit anything. If you hover your mouse over the top of your header area, you should see a camera icon. If you click on that, it'll allow you to upload a background image to your profile. That can be very nice. And you can actually set that up really well in a free tool like Canva. And I'll type that in the sidebar because people may not be aware of Canva. So Canva is a wonderful free tool. Guy Kawasaki promotes it all the time. But it allows you to, hi Daryl, it allows you to pretty much create any kind of image that is sized perfectly for the intent. And it should have a LinkedIn background image in there where you could put another professional picture of you, possibly some verbiage about what your specialty is. So you can upload a background image or even one that's like a pattern. It'll have some stock images that'll allow you to choose from. But I recommend doing that. It just adds a little bit more custom flair to your LinkedIn profile. So you can add a background image. So let's talk about your headlines. I'm going to take a drink here. When you set up your LinkedIn profile, your headline is going to default to what you entered for your current job title. You are more than welcome to leave that alone. However, if your title is account manager or something like that, or salesperson, I would absolutely change this. Your headline is editable and you can change it to your value add, that thing that you do in your job for other people. So I know mine says something to the effect of empowering real people to do real social media. Or you could do, if you are a salesperson, perhaps you're selling health insurance, connecting consumers with affordable healthcare coverage. Okay, you have to think about that elevator pitch. If someone asks you what do you do, and you're actually trying to get them interested in what you do, what your solution is for people, that's what you want in your headline. You also want to make sure that there are keywords in there. So if you were to be looking for your job on Google and you wanted to find, I want to find a perfect job for me, you're going to use certain words. Those are the words that should be in your headline. 2 professions. Okay, great. A realtor who also does public speaking. Ralph, do you do public speaking about realty or about a different topic? If you don't mind answering that. I think that's a great question. And you can fit it in. The headline can get a little bit lengthy. I want to say it's maybe about 100 character limit. Motivational speaking, perfect. So you could say something like specializing in real estate and motivating. What's your? It'd be interesting to see what your audience is. If you have a specific audience for motivational speaking, because that's really going to be where you connect with it. Who are you motivating? If you don't mind answering that, because that'll help too. Motivational speaking makes me think of Chris Farley and Saturday Night Live. Sorry, that's my little shout out to my generation. But you could say motivating. I would definitely use motivating in your headline. Motivating whatever audience it is. Maybe it's motivating business professionals and connecting consumers with their new home or something like that. Nice. So, one thought at a time. So, motivating thought leader and connecting you with your new home or something, with your new castle or something like that. Or, anyone's welcome to throw things out there, but that's what you want to do. So motivating, thought is good because that you could use thought leader, real estate for sure. So real estate solutions, things like that. Does that help? Hopefully a little bit with some ideas for how you can change that instead of just saying, realtor and motivational speaker. You're trying to grab whoever might be finding, inspiring mind and family. Inspiring minds and housing families or something like that, or putting a roof over your head and motivation in your heart or something like that. But see what I'm getting at? It's more of a concept of trying to grab the emotion and the need that someone has if they're finding your profile. So you can definitely get a little inventive with that there. Dr. Nick, I'm actually requiring people to kind of interact in the sidebar before I open any seats or allow anyone in to say seats, but that'd be great. Creating real estate both in mind and I love that. That's really good. See? Good ideas. Thank you so much. Good ideas, guys. So you see what we're saying is that your headline, don't let it just live as your job title. There's a lot of creativity you can use there to make it better and just, whoa, that's exactly what I need. You know, a lot more sexy than account manager, right? So those are some tips for you. And they thank you for asking that question. That's great. Let's talk about that summary statement that you have and should have. If you don't have it filled in, you need to. LinkedIn will actually help you with this based on what you've put in your experience and such, but you do need a summary statement. I've heard different schools of thoughts as to whether you should just make it paragraph form or use bullets. Usually what I do is I lead off with 1 or 2 sentences, and then I will add about 3 bullets that primarily drive at what I do. And this should expound, 1 second on that one. This should expound off that headline. What your value add was in your headline, this is where you can drill more down into that. I will be able to talk about blabs offline, Art, because we're actually trying to stay on topic for LinkedIn today, but thank you for asking. Please email me, rachel@really.social, and I could totally help you at that. But essentially, I would do 1 or 2 sentences. Again, you're kind of building off, this is what I do and why I do it, and then have about 3 bullets, preferably keyword rich. And LinkedIn will help you. As you're typing it, it'll say, hey, people who've searched for profiles like yours are looking for these kind of words. Can you add this in here? And try to work it in. It'll help you with that. But I have heard that bullets are better for grabbing attention in a summary statement. Please make sure you write a summary statement. Let's talk about your experience. Fill in your experience sections. One thing about experience is that if there is a company page that is set up for your employer, when you start typing that employer into that field, it'll create a drop down and allow you to select that company page. Do that. Okay. That will be nice because that actually helps you connect and find your colleagues and create those connections on LinkedIn with people who have worked or are currently working at that employer. Okay. So that's one way that LinkedIn's able to say, hey, Rachel has Health One in her background, and so therefore she is in the network of any other Health One employee, and that's a big deal because that's a big company. So same thing. I mean, you're able to broaden your network if you select instead of just cold writing in, but if you have a company page affiliated with that employer, you can select that and should. Also for your experience, I would focus on results, and this still kind of holds true for your resume, the paper one that you might send out or digital one. Not only do you want to talk about what you do, but you want to talk about what you accomplished. Again, I wouldn't just say manage sales accounts for health insurance. So what? Did you help grow anything? Did you start any initiatives? Did you man any events? Did you project manage? Did you train staff? Get into it. Don't be boring on your experience. Dig in. Talk about it. And if you get long, that's okay, but at least start long and then pare it back so you can be more concise. Also, I don't know if you guys knew this, but this is something not very many people tap into, and I wish they would. In your summary, as well as your experience and a few other sections in your profile, you can add files, and it'll allow you to add an image or a link to a video or another website link or a PDF or things like that. You can actually add those to your experience, and all it does is should have a little, when you're editing your profile, in that experience section, and for that particular job, you should see a little square with a plus next to it. If you click on that, it's going to say, would you like to upload a file or add a link? And you can do that. Now, for suggestions for this, if you write a blog or wrote a blog, or let's say you were featured in a news article somewhere for that company, absolutely add that. Oh my gosh. Let's say that you had a picture taken at an event you helped to manage, or it was a staff picture or something like that. Or let's say that you work in human resources and you created a fun personnel event. You could add that in there. I actually know other people as well. Yes, education is exactly true. I know other people who have published or created training presentations. They actually will post that PowerPoint, upload it right onto their LinkedIn summary and their experience. You can do a PDF of a letter of recommendation. many different things. I really suggest doing that because then you're just doing more than words. I mean, we can all read words all day long, but we all know that we like to see the images and we like to see the things kind of pop out of us. It's called your profile flair. Okay, so go ahead and use that, and it lets you upload. I don't even know if it restricts you to how many, but you can. All right, moving on here. Any other questions around experience? Filling in that experience section while I take a drink of water. And we answered that question. Thank you very much. All right, so moving on, I will move on to, there is one thing I want to point out too. When you are editing your profile, so you've gone into LinkedIn, along the top, you've clicked on the profile tab and you've selected edit profile. Once you land on that screen, and again, you'll see pencil icons everywhere saying, okay, you can edit this, you can edit this, you can edit this. Check over on the right side and you will see a little slider button that says, yes, do you want to notify your network of your updates? Or no, I do not want to publish my updates at this time. If you are planning to retool your profile a lot, and I'm talking like you're adding in your experience, you're uploading files, you're updating your summary, you're changing your headline, I recommend turning that off, okay? Turn it off before you do that because your feed's going to start seeing all manner of stuff in there. About like, oh, there's another one. Oh, she just added a skill. Oh, she just added that employer. Oh, she just changed that title. Oh, she just added an app. And that gets really old. People are like, oh my gosh. So I guess what I'm saying is there's no need to show people what's behind the curtain when you're still working on the production, okay? Wait until you're pretty set and finished and then click, yes, I want to publish. Now that at that point, let's say that you win a fantastic award like, Daryl got the top contributor to the Denver Post. And again, I'm speaking for Denver, for the Denver Post for 2016. I want people to see that I'm adding that to my profile. I will just click that slider to yes, add that to my profile, and that gets shown out to my network. But again, that's great for if you have something you do want to kind of tout about with actually posting, hey guys, I just won this wonderful award. Instead, you can update your profile. It just gets sent out anyway, okay? So if you're retooling stuff, turn it off. If you're adding something you'd like to blow your horn or shoot your horn about a little bit, click it to yes. Okay. Moving on with profiles. Other areas you want to fill in, you can enter up to 50 skills in LinkedIn. And it's nice because based on what it already has in its skills database and repository, as you start typing in, like if I start typing in social, it's going to bring up a number of things like social media, social networking, social causes, social change, social benefit, social groups, social worker, okay? So it'll autofill those in. You can also type your own in if you're just not seeing something that really tackles what this is. The reason why you want to make sure those skills are filled in is because A, that helps people find you if they're searching for a particular skill. If someone needs typing and I know how to type, I'm going to put typing in my skill set, then they're going to be able to find my profile better. And if they're recruiting for that. However, additionally, if you ever have been in LinkedIn and you decide to go visit someone's profile, just give it a second and LinkedIn will actually create a pop-up box at the top saying, hey, Daryl is really good at, would you like to endorse Daryl for public speaking, social media, networking, journalism? Because he's probably added those skills to his profile. So now it's asking, well, do you know for a fact, if you know Daryl, you're visiting his profile, do you know that he's good at these things? Would you like to endorse him for those? Okay. So the skills are important because it does provide that onus to let other people, I want to give her props for that. She's really good at that, or she's good. And the nice thing too is the person giving the endorsements, they can actually remove stuff from the suggestions that they aren't sure about. Because I know for one thing, it was asking me if I wanted to endorse someone for a particular skill. I'm like, frankly, I didn't know they did that. So no, I'm not going to endorse them because I have no idea. Stay authentic on LinkedIn. If you aren't sure someone's good at something, don't endorse them for it. That can be seen as catfishing to say, well, I want to endorse you because I want you to endorse me back. Well, do you even for a fact know I'm good at something? I actually had someone try to endorse me for a skill. I didn't even know what the word meant. So I I was like, well, I'm not endorsing you back. I don't even, and I think at that point in LinkedIn's history, I was able to decline the endorsement. So that was fun. Let's move to networking. Does anyone have any questions, though, about profile stuff before we move to how to network on LinkedIn? Questions, Cricket. I had to talk at a LinkedIn 101 today for a little over an hour, so my voice is a little bit tired, but might have some tea later. All right. So networking on LinkedIn. So let's say your profile is to the level that you feel, all right, I'm ready to roll, ready to network. So LinkedIn will always help you with networking. For one thing, it does it from the get-go. When you're signing up, it's asking you for access to your email platform. Let's say you use Gmail. When you're signing up, it'll ask you, say, hey, especially if you sign in with your Gmail account, it's going to ask you, hey, would you like us to try to find any other LinkedIn users from your contacts in Gmail? If you click yes, it'll try to find them, and then it'll try to hook you up. LinkedIn will ask you about every 2 to 3 weeks, same question. You get a little alert thinking that somebody looked at my profile. Nope, that's LinkedIn saying, hey, would you like us to go in and look at your email again? Maybe you've got some new contacts we could try to connect you with. So LinkedIn will always try to connect you with people. And it'll always ask you, hey, or do you know this person and stuff like that, okay? Plus, when you connect with people, often it'll let you recommend people to them as well. So you can do that. When you do start networking, start with who you know. Obviously, your email contacts is a great place. But you can also look for family, look for friends, and look for colleagues at your current and past companies. So by doing that, all you need to do is use that search bar at the top. You can start typing in names. You can type in companies, and usually you can find the company. A lot of astute companies, even smaller businesses, are now posting LinkedIn pages. They're publishing those so that they're there. They have a presence, which is great because that's almost like the central hub for any of their staff to connect to that company, and then they can find each other. This relates back to when I was saying that for your experience, you want to make sure you tie your experience to a company page if one exists, because then people can find each other. So you can look in that search bar for anyone. And usually if people are astute, if they've entered their name, they're also including their maiden name for women or men, that happens too. So you might have to do a little bit of digging, but you can find people pretty easily. So start with that. Start with who you know. That's an automatic given. Beyond that, you can also start adding people that you meet in social circles. So let's say you go to a networking event and you meet someone and you're like, oh, they're pretty cool. Get a business card. Oh my gosh. There actually are apps out there that will let you scan the business card and then go find them on LinkedIn for you. So you can do all this stuff and add people that way. Then you're going to start wanting to spread out. And LinkedIn will always, again, suggest people to you. But I recommend going and dabbling into groups. Groups are fantastic on LinkedIn. Now, they've gone through some changes recently where they are primarily very, very private and locked down to make sure people aren't spamming them. Groups have their own policies for a group. Usually it'll give you things like, hey, no spam is allowed in here, or no sales pitches. You're only allowed to come in here if you have a helpful link and you're willing to engage. Or sometimes they'll even say, don't post your own link until you've got at least 5 comments that you've made on someone else's post. So always go into groups and look at the rules that exist there, because they're moderated by someone. Someone created that group, and they're usually the ones who are the gatekeepers for saying, yes, you can come in, or no, you can't, or no, you need to get out. Okay. You can find groups based on interests, on expertise, on industry, on topics. Again, all you have to do, let's say I wanted to go find a social media group. I would just type social media in the top search bar of LinkedIn. The nice thing about LinkedIn searches is it'll find kind of the top things that are relevant, but it'll group it saying, well, here are people related to social media. Here are companies related to social media. Here are some groups. So you'll click down in there and it'll bring up virtually any group that has those keywords affiliated built into that group. If you're not finding what you need, change up the words. You can also check and look at people's profiles that you know, perhaps in your company or in your industry, and see what groups they're tied to. What groups are they members of in LinkedIn? And you can go join those groups. Okay. The nice thing about that is that once you are a fellow member with someone in a group, you don't have to be connected with them to message them. You can actually message them directly through the group without needing to be connected, because nowadays, unless you're connected with someone on LinkedIn, like someone has said, I want to connect with you, you said good, now you're connected. Now you guys can message each other at will on LinkedIn. That's with a free profile. If you aren't connected with someone in LinkedIn, the only way you can message them on LinkedIn are two ways. One is to be in a group with them, so you can message them as a fellow member. The other is to pay for LinkedIn Premium to send them an in-mail. Because with LinkedIn Premium, you're allowed, I believe it's 30 in-mails per month. And an in-mail is basically, say, it's like a cold call saying, you don't know me, we're not connected, but I wanted to send you a message and here's why. Okay, so those are two ways to connect and network if you are not connected with that person. But groups are fantastic for getting out there and connecting with people. And just keep looking and finding people. Look in your feed. You can see if someone, if people are commenting on stuff in your feed that you like and like what they have to say. See if you can connect with them. Okay. Any questions about networking? Actually, I have a few more to say. Groups. So let's say you find someone you'd like to connect with, and you go to their profile, check them out, you like them, whatever. And you want to connect. So you hit the connect button. Now LinkedIn will come up with a pop-up, and it's going to have a canned message that says, I'd like to add you to my LinkedIn network. Change that message, okay? Every opportunity, because you want to differentiate yourself. Okay, even if you don't personally know that person, there's a reason you want to connect with them. Okay, and it's okay to be, honest and be like, I really liked your posts I saw on LinkedIn. I would like to add you to my network. Is that cool? Or is that appropriate? Or are you willing to do that? Would you like to connect? Or I met you at a coffee networking event last month and would like to connect with you here on LinkedIn and possibly grab another coffee. How does that sound? Okay. Or, I've been following this company and I see that you're affiliated with them. I would like to learn more. Would you be willing to connect? Okay. So it's fine. Treat this like it's normal life. None of us really are going to be that open to someone just blazing up to us and be like, hi, let's be best friends. You have no idea who I am. Nah, come on. Give me something. Why do you want to connect with me? There's surely got to be some reason why you think I'm good for your network and vice versa. Okay? Because remember, when you're asking someone to connect to you, there should be some mutual benefit coming out of this, okay? Some people will try to connect just for sales leads because their intent to connect with you is then they can message you and say, good, let me show you this link. I want you to go buy stuff. Don't do that ever. Oh my gosh. Okay. I know salespeople, you do your thing and that's cool, but please, do it gingerly. Use best practices to connect with people and message them on LinkedIn. All right. All right. So I am going to hop over here to we're talking about connecting. Let's talk about how to post. Okay. I'm going to take another drink and pause here. So, let's say you've connected, you've networked, you've joined a couple groups. Now you actually have to take the deep dive and actually share thought. This can feel scary. It's not. It's fine. It's just like, the first time you make a phone call, you're like, ooh, I'm going to say things. You have a few different options for doing this, and start slow. Okay. So if you're new to LinkedIn and engaging, I reckon, you start your profile, you kind of create your network and connect with people and stuff like that. Well, let's start actually adding to this timeline, this feed you keep seeing every time you get in LinkedIn, and articles are scrolling through and you're seeing different links and different people typing things. Let's start there. So now that you've built your network up a little bit, you should be having a feed where things are scrolling through there, and you've got an article here, you've got an image here, you've got a thought here, someone shared a link about a job here. There's even a promoted post that someone paid an ad for. Okay, you've got all this stuff going on in there. All you need to do is go down through your feed. So let's see, you find an article. Yeah, ooh, that's interesting. You go read the article. It's really good. So all you got to do is click the little thumbs up like button. That's great. What that does, not only does that show that person, they get an alert that you liked their post, which is great. But it will also then add that post to the feed that other people are seeing if they're connected with you. And it's not that you posted that thing, but they're seeing that you liked it. Okay. I actually really like that they've done this with LinkedIn. I don't think they used to do it, where if I like someone else's post, now people who have me in their feed are going to see that post that I liked. They may not have been connected to the person that I am connected to who posted that, but they've seen this content, and it gives that content more opportunity to be shared, and also gives more opportunity for people to connect with each other, because now that person I'm connected to who saw that at my feed might want to connect with the person who made the post, okay, that they would not have seen unless I had liked it. So start there. Once a day, go through your feed and just like one thing. And that's going to get you started and get you rolling. Okay, so now you've liked some stuff. Now you're getting some, confidence going. You're like, okay, this isn't so bad. This is good. But I have a thought now. I see this article and maybe I disagree with it. Or maybe I have another thought that ties to it, but it wasn't in the article. Now you can comment, okay? So click the little comment button underneath that post. Add your comment. It's okay. You can even be like, thanks for sharing. I mean, that could be it. You could say, this was great. I also wonder if blah, blah, blah. Or this was great, except I don't know if I agree with blah, blah, blah because XYZ. Okay? Just sharing that thought. You're contributing, you're engaging. That's great. And that speaks to the person who posted this. They see value in you engaging with that. And now you're getting warmed up. You're like, all right, I just shared some thought. And again, nothing bad happened. This is great. Whew. Remember, keep it professional. It's a professional tone on LinkedIn. You can use humor and quip and stuff like that, but you're not posting cat videos. Okay. So now let's say that you are so enthused by the article you've seen. You don't just want to like it. You don't just want to comment there so it's only visible. That comment is only visible in that person's feed and in yours, or in that person's feed. You want to add the same article and the same post to your feed with your own comment at the top. Okay? That's easy too. That's when you share. You click the share button, a little pop-up screen is going to open up, and it's basically going to have a preview of that link in that post. So it's the same stuff. But now at the top of that, you can type in the field saying what your thought is about it. So let's say it is an article about organic food. Okay? And again, organic food, I like to try it, buy it all I can, people, whatever. So let's say it's about organic food. Let's say you primarily agree with the article, but you have one thought, and maybe it's a helpful thing saying people can also look at this resource or something. It's just not listed in this article. Click share. It opens up on a box that you can then type in your comment, and you can say, this is a great article about organic food. However, you can also find resources at this website. And you hit post. So now you've shared someone else's content that they had in their feed, and you've added your own thought. Okay? Again, engaging with another person, adding your own thought, and you're off to the races. So if you've liked and commented and shared, there's nothing stopping you from now publishing your own update. So to do that, I want you to think about the websites that you visit every day or close to every day for your own news. What interests you? Particularly if it's something that's related to your industry or expertise. What are the things that you look to online that give you some resource, give you some insight, give you latest trends and news? Okay, go to one of those websites. If you're like, yep, this one's perfect. Oh my gosh. And I think that the people who follow me in my industry would really find this useful as well. Grab that URL. Okay, and to do that, all you have to do is click on the browser bar of the article you're on. You copy that whole link, take that over to LinkedIn. If you paste it into the update field, it's almost like magic, guys. And it's just like Facebook, where it'll populate and preview. And now you've got it'll grab an image from that article and a little headline with a little subtext and the link. And then you can add your own thought and hit post. And now you've just shared your own update on LinkedIn. And now people can go engage with you. Now, real quickly, there are two ways to post to a LinkedIn feed. There's an update, and that is a bit shorter content. So again, it could just be a sentence or two of thought. It could be a link that you've pasted into that field. Maybe you want to upload an image. It's a cool motivational quote. Okay, that all happens as an update, and it's pretty quick and appears in the feed like normal. with updates, you'll get alerts if someone liked it, if someone commented on it, and if someone reshared it. Okay, so you have that. That's somewhat different. Well, it's vastly different actually than a LinkedIn post. The post is the publishing content / blog tool that is now on LinkedIn for all users. Up until a few years ago, only high-profile influencers were allowed to publish on LinkedIn, where Barack Obama, Ariana Huffington, people like that were able to, Ellen DeGeneres probably could too, but it was only rolled out to the high rollers, okay? But now any LinkedIn user can publish a post, or publish rather, on LinkedIn. When you publish a post, that is different because you need to have, it looks like a blog. You have to have a header image. You should anyway. You really need to have a header image. It wants a headline. It wants bullets and tags and paragraphs. You want links. It'll let you tag up to 3 categories as the topic of that post. And it needs to be like a blog. And when you publish that post, and again, post versus an update. The update is a shorter thing that you can do a link or an image or a statement. The publishing a post is like a blog. And once you publish it, it does give the option to share out on Facebook or Twitter, but then you actually get to go back in and see analytics for that post, just like you would for a blog post. You can see what primary industries are eyeballing that post, people in what industries are looking at it the most. What level of seniority are they that are getting the most views on it, how many views it's gotten, how many shares it's gotten, and stuff like that. And a lot of people are actually using LinkedIn posts as their blog instead of doing it on WordPress or doing it on their own site. That's completely understandable. It might be easier. Maybe most of your network that you engage with is on LinkedIn and you want a blog. Go do it on LinkedIn. That's totally fine. Do a LinkedIn post and do once a week. And you can do that. I wouldn't do it daily. And when you, as we pointed out in our LinkedIn 101 today, when you do a LinkedIn post, it should have some meat to it. It shouldn't just be skating through 2-3 sentences and that's it. Because come on, that's dumb. You could have done an update with that. This is more about being a thought leader, okay, and sharing that kind of thing. And you can have outbound links going too, to where you're linking to some supporting content outside, okay? So again, if you want to try publishing posts on LinkedIn, that would be great. Think of it like a blog or a mini blog, and you'll be on the right track. But that actually can get some really good play for you. I know I've actually been dabbling with trying to maybe do some more LinkedIn posts versus blogging, because a lot of my network that I need to reach are on LinkedIn already and may not go to my website, although they should. So those are the 2 kinds of different posts you can do on LinkedIn. And Social Ben makes a good point where you can blog on your site and then also do a LinkedIn post. I don't know if I replicate the content exactly, but you can definitely do kind of a spin-off of the original blog onto LinkedIn or vice versa, okay? Other thing to consider about that is if your intent is to drive traffic back to your own domain, you may not want to publish a post on LinkedIn as your blog forum. You may want to just use it to keep pushing out, repurposing your domain's blog. So you're still bringing traffic back to your website, because otherwise LinkedIn owns that site and owns that domain traffic. Same thing goes with Medium. A lot of people blog on Medium, and that's great. Medium gets a ton of visibility and traffic and everything, but that all belongs to Medium. Okay, so you're basically driving and supporting traffic to Medium instead of your own site. So think about that for SEO, search engine optimization, and stuff like that. Let's see. I was going to say one more thing. We answered that. Any other questions about updating and posts and such? And I have a couple more thoughts about privacy and settings, and we're going to wrap up. All right. Okay. So also, real quick, I had mentioned the tool Canva is just one tool out there that if you need to post images to LinkedIn and they need to be sized correctly, you can use Canva, canva.com, and you can find, make a quote image. So easy in there. Just find like this just generic background that's all pretty. You can put a quote, of a famous person on there, and now it's sized for LinkedIn. You can share it. It looks fantastic. Okay. So images and links do way better on LinkedIn than just standard text. I don't know the last time I've seen a text-only post on LinkedIn. They're all links and images. So consider that. I'm really anticipating if they're going to try to incorporate live video or GIFs even. And I know GIFs can be a little more casual, but people are using those more and more to communicate, so it wouldn't surprise me. Let's talk about privacy and settings. We're going to kind of wrap with this. I encourage anyone on any social media platform anywhere to look at your privacy settings regularly. Facebook used to be the one I joked about because, oh, well, it changes every week, so you should definitely, keep checking it. They've gotten a little better about not being so on the fly, but LinkedIn, same way. Everybody's going to have their comfort zone of how public you want to be on LinkedIn, whether you want to just be open the floodgates. I want to connect with everybody and everybody's brother and their sister and their cousin and animals and everything. That's fine. Other people are going to be on the opposite side of the spectrum where they only want to connect with people they have met in person. Okay? That is completely fine. You need to think, and I will shout out to my co-presenter of today, Amy Skillen, about this. She's at Amy, AIMEE Skillen on Twitter, but she pointed out that you need to have an end game, a strategy in mind when you use LinkedIn and deciding how you want to regulate your connections, how you want to regulate your privacy. Do you want to be that person who's just full on public out there and I want everyone to find me and everyone to connect me with it ever? Or do you want to be somewhere in between that and the person who just wants to connect with people they've met online and that's it? Okay. Think about your strategy. What helps your end game? If you're in B2B sales, you're probably going to be more on the very public, very accepting, connect with everyone side. If you're in security and are real hedgy about publicizing yourself on social media and stuff, you might be a little more on the other side of the spectrum where you're like, I'm only going to connect with people I've met in real life because I believe in authentic connections. Totally fine. So let's talk about privacy. The first thing you want to do in your privacy and settings is you want to add any email addresses that you use for a business or even legitimate purpose. For instance, I've got a email address that I only use for like school communications and talking to my family. But I have another Gmail address that is a more quasi-professional. And then I have a company address, rachel@really.social. So I've added those last two, that Gmail and my really.social email. Those are added to my LinkedIn profile. My very personal Gmail is not. And the reason why you want to add any kind of email of your choice to your profile is because you may have been privy to receiving from LinkedIn an invitation to join LinkedIn. When you're already on LinkedIn, where did that come from? Well, here's what happened. Let's say I work at this company and I have a Gmail address. So I work at this company and everybody there, that's the only email they know how to get a hold of me. Conversely, I might have a network contact outside of that company that only knows my Gmail account. Well, they're on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn looks at their email address book, says, oh, look, we don't find that email on LinkedIn. You should send Rachel an invitation to join LinkedIn. And they do. And then I get an invitation. I'm like, what is this? I'm already on LinkedIn. The reason why is because if I had added that Gmail to my LinkedIn, LinkedIn would have found me and would have said, oh yeah, Rachel's already on LinkedIn. You should go connect with her. Okay. So you want to go into your privacy settings and add any remotely relevant emails to your privacy settings. And it's really easy. You just click on private. So on the top little right tiny picture at the top of your LinkedIn screen, you click on it, scroll down, menu says privacy and settings, click on manage. That next screen, you're going to see your picture over here on the left. And sorry, I'm doing all the backwards on the image. Picture up on the left, right below that has your email address and it says change or add. So you'll want to click on that. It'll let you add, I don't even know if it limits you to how many emails, probably 10 or something like that. It'll let you add an email. It'll send a verification link and you're off to the races. And then you get out of those repeated requests. Hey, you haven't joined LinkedIn yet. Yes, I have. You're just using a different email. All that's added in there together and you're good to go. Okay, so that's one thing you want to do with your profile settings. Let me look here what else we have. You can also, in your profile settings, in your privacy settings, decide who sees what. In your privacy settings, you'll see a profile tab, and it'll say, well, what do you want people to see if you click on their profile? You have a few settings there. You can either have it say, Rachel Moore with Really Social looked at your profile today with my picture. Or you can have it say, with no picture, someone in the marketing industry in Greater Denver viewed your profile. And I believe you even have an anonymous one, where it's like anonymous LinkedIn user viewed your profile. I know you have at least 2 of those options with a free account. Premium gives you a little more control. But that might be handy. Let's say you do kind of need to go stalk somebody, but you don't want them to know you were looking at your profile. Because guess what? Every time someone visits your profile, you're going to get an alert saying, so-and-so, you've had this many visits to your profile. Go see who checked you out. Okay? It's almost like someone knocking at your door, and they looked at you. All right? So you may not want that person to know that you were looking at them. And there are many reasons why. Let's say you're an employer and you want to kind of go spy on your staff's profile because you want to see if they're job shopping or if they're posting stuff or whatever. Or even if they're posting things that are against your industry or something like that. Well, you may want to be secretive and hide that, so you can go update this setting, what that person would see when you view their profile, and then go visit. One thing you will want to do if you're job shopping, a little quick tip here. Let's say you find a really great job on LinkedIn, okay? For many of these, up on the top right of that job, it'll show you who posted that job. I always recommend for people to apply to that job, and then after that, whether it's within a day or whatever, go click on the profile of that person who posted the job, and they're going to see, hey, that person applied to that job and they looked at my profile. So it's almost like that marketing, you need at least 8 different times to see somebody or hear a message to have it resonate. You're adding to that. You're adding to that another hit on that person to say, yep, I just saw you again. Oh, that's awesome. So again, keep in mind that you will want to kind of control what people can see when you're viewing their profile. Also, in your privacy settings, you can control your profile as well as your LinkedIn profile plus your public profile. Your public profile is what people can see if they're not logged into and using LinkedIn, okay? So you do have some visibility there. You might decide not to be visible at all to anyone who's not on LinkedIn, and that's totally fine. Welcome. But you might want to, you can control some things to say, well, here's my LinkedIn profile where everything's visible. But for my public profile, I really only want my profile picture, my experience, and my summary statement to be visible. Totally fine. So that's an option for you. Make sure you keep that in mind. And again, I always just really encourage people at least get savvy with what your privacy settings are. MSCP, I actually have some blab guidelines that I don't let people in unless they're engaging on the topic in the sidebar. But thank you, and we're almost wrapping up on this awesome topic of LinkedIn stuff. Let's see what else I was going to go over for privacy. You can also control your notifications on in your privacy settings. How often do you want to hear via email or even push messaging on your phone as far as like when things are happening or when people are looking at your profile? You can control all of that there. I'm one of the less is more people. I don't like, as it happens, emails saying, oh, so-and-so viewed your profile. I like digests, but some people really just want to stay on top of that, particularly if you are job searching or networking for some immediate purpose. You're going to want to look at that. Let's see, what else do we have? Who can ask you to connect? Aha. Okay. You may have encountered people who you've tried to connect with them, and you ask to connect, and it gets you to that screen. It says, well, can you tell how you know this person? Let's say you're not a friend, you're not a colleague, you've never done business together, and it's other. They may have set in their privacy settings, they may have set that saying, you know what, you at least need to know my email address before you can request to connect with me. You have that option of setting that up. So know that you can set that up in your privacy settings, or you can say anyone on LinkedIn can connect with me or at least request the connection. Because remember, you have to approve the connection. No one's automatically going to connect with you on LinkedIn. You get to triage that. One thing that is a little quick tip too, let's say you want to connect with somebody, they have that setting saying you must know my email, but you don't know their email. But let's say you've emailed with someone else at the company they work with, and now you know that company's email convention. For instance, at the last company I was at, it was always first name dot last name at blah, blah, blah. So I've found, if I've really done some homework and I know the email of someone at a company, possibly someone I'm trying to get hired with or whatever, I know the email convention and I want to connect with that person, but I don't have their email. If I know their first and last name, I can probably guess what their email is. And I've actually gotten a few connections this way because, yeah, I figured your email out and now we're a connection. So keep that in mind. You can kind of use your brains to work that out. So that's pretty much it as far as the social media stuff. Are there any questions that anybody has about LinkedIn before we wrap today? And I will have this available. I have a link right here. Hold on. It's available on my events link on my website, but I will have this blab replayed there as well as on my YouTube channel. And should be doing some future blogs and stuff about it just to get some best practices. If you didn't catch it, I do have a little takeaway sheet for you that you should be able to open and download and print to your heart's content for getting just rolling with your profile. If you've got it set up and just maybe needs those 5 best practices steps to get successful with it and kind of get, okay, I've got my confidence going, I'm good. That link I just posted, the LinkedIn 5 steps, that will get you going and get you actually interacting and networking and seeing those notifications of people looking at your profile and asking you to connect. And that's really where the fun is. Last little takeaway I'll give you is that when you do your LinkedIn profile, you keep setting it up, you keep working on it and everything and optimizing it and using keywords and adding images and all this stuff, you'll see it'll grade your profile up on the top right, and it'll say, if you're pretty good, you're doing really average, and I'm going to block you because you're just not wanting to. Thank you. But you're going to see that it's going to grade you based on your LinkedIn profile, your assessment, like how you're doing. The highest I've seen is All-Star, and it's a circle, and it lifts it up, fills it almost full to the bubble, but there's a little white space where it's not filled in. Me and my compadres are pretty convinced that they do that on purpose so that nobody ever feels like their profile is totally finished, which is just sneaky. So if I ever get to where I am All-Star full blue circle on there, I promise you I'm going to post that on LinkedIn. And a little obnoxious picture of it because I'll be like, yes, I finally did it. But just know everyone's LinkedIn profile is a work in progress because every day is different and every day is new. I hope you guys connect with me on LinkedIn, actually. I don't know why I didn't think about doing this, but I'm going to. Let me go grab my LinkedIn link so that you can link with me too. So go connect with me on LinkedIn. Full stops everywhere. Give it a go. Also get to All-Star by just saying full stops. A full stop? What's a full stop? Social. Ben, I'm just intrigued right now. What's a full stop? I'm totally clicking on that right now. But connect with me on LinkedIn. Would love to add you to my network. And I like sharing stuff too. ... is a full stop. Really? Are you being sarcastic or is that for real? That's so crazy. Any other questions or tips about LinkedIn, including from Social Ben? Full stops. Now I'm intrigued and I'm like, that's interesting. LinkedIn is, I actually had a prediction and I'll close with this. And again, people can ask me questions or email them to me as well. I actually have a prediction that if LinkedIn doesn't incorporate live video in some manner, whether that means coming up with their own platform, which I think they should, if they don't do that this next year, I think they're going away. And I know that's very daring of me to say, but God, live videos everywhere, and thought leadership is happening on live video. and they need to get on the horse because, I mean, they can do that professionally too. They could figure out a way. They could oust Google Hangout because Blab sure is taking a shot at that. But those are my thoughts. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. Please email me if you have any more questions about LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn and ask me there. That'd be awesome. And I will look for you on the other side. Also, if you have any suggestions for for future social media how-tos, is there a platform you want to know how to use? I will take those recommendations as well, because we haven't set it for February yet, and that's the 4th Tuesday in February. We need a topic for how to social media. Which one? Which one do we want to learn? So email those to me at rachel@really.social. That is my email. This has been Laugh and Learn Blab series, and now you know how to use LinkedIn. And I am going to head over to Madeline Sklar's Blab About Twitter on Blab. Have a wonderful afternoon.